Judge, it's 10.
It's 10, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. Let's call this meeting to order for February 28th, 2023. Commissioners Court at the Polk County Regional Health Building, Suite A. What time is it officially, ma'am?
10:01.
10:01. If you would, please mute all your cell phones and other devices. And at this time, we're going to ask Brian Wharton, First United Methodist Church on Alaska, to lead us in prayer.
Won't you bow with me? Gracious and merciful God, we give you thanks for this beautiful day, for all the opportunities that you will put before us to live into the life that you have given us. Our prayer is in this moment that you would be present, that we would know your presence, that you would fill us with wisdom and kindness as we speak, as we discern, as we lead, as we plan. Help us, O God, in all things to be faithful. You have called us all, whether we are elected, appointed, or we are a citizen, you have called us all to serve one another with grace and with mercy and with justice. May we all be found faithful in this day and every day. In Jesus' precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Okay, public comment, did anyone sign up?
No, ma'am.
Okay, item number 3, informational reports. We have an update from the county clerk regarding voter registration.
So we have updated some of the streets to reflect the correct districts. We've been working with the City of Onalaska, the City of Livingston, Corrigan School District, Goodrich School District, and Onalaska to make sure that all their lines are straight and as far as the city, that the people that the streets are in the city limits. We secured a drive with IT to start scanning all the applications and go paperless. And we worked with emergency management on making sure we've got all the streets correct and the precincts assigned.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, annual report from the Polk County AgriLife Extension Office. I was say, come on down.
Yeah. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing?
It's fine.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. I'll introduce myself to the 2 new commissioners. My name is Alyssa Kimbrough, a former Puckett. Been with the county, I'm working on the year 13. Year 15 with Extension and 20 years in education. So I'm fortunate enough to get to work with our 4-H youth here in Polk County. My co-worker here, Matt, is our Ag Natural Resource Agent. Today we're coming with you with information. We've given you a PAC program this year. Was 4-H day camps, summer camps. I was coming off maternity leave, so we really hustled to get those done. I didn't do the full week cooking camp this year. We kind of split it up. We did some outdoor cooking and grilling, teaching the kids how to start fire pits and properly put them out, and using steaks. We did ribeyes this year, so it was really, really nice. The kids really enjoyed it. And then we took it back some time and taught the kids how to do some jelly jams, so that they are learning the canning process, moving into that whole preserving. And then we worked with some leadership opportunities with our, coming back from COVID, getting our annual banquet going again, and just working on that aspect of it. So those were our 2 things that we really focused on in the 4-H program. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Eddie to tell y'all a little bit about his 4-H project, and then we're going to move on to Matt and Deborah. So, I didn't introduce Deborah. Deborah is our health agent. So,
Thank y'all for having me here today. My name is Eddie Turk. I've been active in 4-H shooting sports for about 5 years, and this is my second term as the Livingston 4-H president. My favorite thing about shooting sports is because it teaches you how to handle and use a firearm properly, which everybody needs to know. And my favorite thing about 4-H as a whole is it has provided me opportunities to improve my leadership and my communication skills. I've had several opportunities to go to the 4-H Junior Leadership Labs, and that helped me with learning how to work with people and being a leader. And I would recommend 4-H activities to anybody. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Those don't happen to be your proud parents back then.
I did tell y'all you shot a 189 out of 200.
Oh, okay.
Over San Antonio at the rodeo shoot.
There you go.
All right, so transitioning from the 4-H to the ag world, my name's Matthew March. I'm the ag agent in the county. I'm going to talk about some of the ag and natural resource education we did. I do have a packet for y'all, but before I talk about that, I'm going to invite John and Tina Crenchfield up. They're two producers I work with here in the county. They have a cattle operation / recreational property out on East Claymont Road. I can't remember if it's east or west or which one. East Claymont. And Tina also works a lot with me with the Master Nursery. So I'm going to let them talk about some of the stuff that we've done with them this last year.
Well, I'm gonna address Texas Master Naturalist and Ag Extension real quick. We couldn't obviously have the program without the Ag Extension office and without Matt. We are extremely grateful for the education, the workshops and the seminars that he provides both to us as Texas Master Naturalists to educate us, but the opportunities that he provides for us to work with the community and helping to educate them and be better stewards of our environment here locally. He was doing that for me personally before I became a Texas Master Naturalist, and it's really helped me to excel in that. I'm this year's training director, and we have the largest class this year that we've ever. Thank you, Matt. I'll let my husband speak to our property.
Yes, John Critchfield here. We are very grateful for the fact that we have an extension agent that will actually come out and take a look at our land. We've had problems with our pastures, and he has given us a plan to get that under control. We've had pond issues, and the pond seminar that he did for the continuing education out at our place gave us a whole lot of new insight into how to get our algae fish killing pond under control. But also him bringing out wildlife biologists and hydrologists and trappers and everything else, got a much better idea of how to bring some of our problems under control, and also to extend that to the lower end of our property where we have runoff and erosion issues into creeks. We have gotten a lot of our erosion under control and also improved the water quality going into the creeks. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm also going to invite up Mr. Gary Ashmore. I think some of y'all know him from the Groundwater District, but he's also one of my great volunteers with the produce growers breakfast we do here in the county, and I'm going to let him talk about that a little bit.
He didn't invite me, I called and invited myself.
There you go. Okay, so before you do that, we've already embarrassed Mr. King, Mr. Turk back there. So he's an award-winning ag extension agent as well. So I would
Yes.
like to point out that Polk County is doing rather well all the way around.
Specifically on the growers breakfast, I serve on the Farm Bureau as a volunteer and on the board. And Matt came to us about 1.5 years ago and came up with the idea of us having a kind of an informal educational growers breakfast. We call it the Polk County Growers Breakfast. It's bi-monthly, the last Friday of the month. We invite people who actually make a living in the county growing things and selling things, as well as the amateurs such as myself that wants to pretend to be a farmer. But it's a great breakfast. It's been growing over 2 years. And it was actually, as the judge mentioned a while ago, it was recognized by the State Farm Bureau of the entire state, it was chosen as the most innovative and educational new program that had been started in the state. Matt was pulled down to Corpus Christi and given an award at the state annual membership, and we were very proud of that. But I just wanted to elaborate. The Growers Breakfast is a fantastic thing. It's word of mouth. We don't advertise, but it's word of mouth. We've got over 50 people. 2 weeks ago, our last meeting was 40 people. But Matt, every month, he brings in a expert from A&M, tells us how to grow things organically, which fruit trees to grow, how to grow bees. His office, we had an intern who came out. I wanted to try to build a greenhouse. She came out with Matt. They evaluated my property, gave me some ideas about how to build a greenhouse, which materials to use, walked me through it, helped me make the mistakes. It did such a good job that during the freeze in December, we still harvested tomatoes without any external heat. That's how well it was done. So Matt does a fantastic job. I think he's undervalued. He's humble and he won't stroke his own, but he does good for us, and he makes the county look good. You guys know we got a lot of people moving into the county, and they really want to get into growing things in agriculture, and he's the window to that. So he's a valuable asset. I want to thank him for it, and I want to thank you guys for sponsoring Having AgriLife and doing it. So that's my 2 cents. I'll shut up.
Gary underestimates his worth too. I wouldn't be able to do the Growers Breakfast without him. He gets all the IT together and sends out the emails and everything. So, but I'll just want to say a few more words. I'm going to go through my little packet here if y'all want to follow along. Just want to hit some high notes because we had a lot of good success this last year. I basically have 3 main program areas. I do beef and forage education, produce education, and wildlife and habitat improvement. So obviously beef and forage, we all know cattle's a big deal, #1 livestock inventory in the county. With this year, with the drought and rising input costs and fertilizer costing $1,000 a ton, we had to look real hard on trying to get education to improve efficiency of operations. And we did that. We did a beef and forage workshop here in the county where we went out to W.R. Baker's Ranch and worked on fertilizer and weed ID out there. We did our annual pesticide certification, and we did Cow Country Congress over in Madisonville. And with that note on drought, I wanted to point out we had 100% of respondents at the beef and forage workshop plan to adopt management practices in their cattle herd to improve them during drought conditions. So that's pretty neat. On to the produce education. The 2 main things about that, like Gary mentioned, we do the bi-monthly produce growers breakfast meeting over at the Farm Bureau. The highlight of that this last year was we did a county farm tour. We went out to Sweet Wings Farms, Mr. Snook's Farm, and C&M Blueberries, and we had about, I don't know how many people we had. We had about 20 people or so that we got to go tour around the county, and they got to see techniques that they could take into their operations, and so that was pretty neat. And the other big part of the produce plan, and Deborah's going to talk about this a little bit more, I think, is we have a senior citizen community garden over there at the extension office where I got volunteers that manage it, and we take produce over to the senior center, and then we do a monthly lunch and learn with them and teach them how to incorporate healthy vegetables and stuff into their diet. And it was pretty neat. 14 of the seniors at the senior center that we surveyed out of 14 said they added at least 1 new fruit, vegetable, or seed to their diet from our education that we're doing there with them. So that's pretty neat because a lot of them have pretty limited funds and don't have access to good vegetables. But last year we raised 676 pounds of produce from the garden, and that equated to around 1,800 individual pieces of vegetables, or 194,000 calories according to the USDA. So pretty happy with that. And to wrap that all up, we do wildlife and habitat improvement education. We know timber's a big deal here in the county. So with that, we do our field tours, which Tina and John mentioned, where we did a pond management workshop out at their property. We took landowners out there to look at ponds in person. And then I'm also part of the Forest Pest Seminar program up in Lufkin, which caters to commercial loggers and foresters, and we get quite a few here from Polk County that go to that. And last year, the economic impact from that was estimated around $274,000 to our local loggers. So that's about all I got, unless y'all have any questions.
So I can add to the comment about our garden over here. We have gotten a lot of really positive feedback from the community, especially from our elderly, from our senior citizens, that have been getting, being able to take home vegetables from that and also receiving education.
Yeah.
So that has been nice. If y'all will recall, when we first built that building, we agreed that we didn't want to surround it in pine trees, that we wanted it to have fruit trees, so that would be a possibility as well for the senior citizens that came.
Yeah, they were, when we first started going over there, they were kind of hesitant, but now we've been doing it for a couple of years. They look forward to us going over there. And they're kind of, sometimes you bring them a new, we did, was it kohlrabi?
Kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi, I never can pronounce it right, which is like this ancient cabbage. It's like a giant ball of cabbage kind of. Make coleslaw out of it. They were real hesitant until they tasted it and then they liked it, so it was kind of neat. I'll let Deborah talk about her health stuff.
Okay, well, my name is Deborah Alvarenga, and I am the health agent for Polk County. I also am the health agent in Trinity County, so I'm working in both counties. And I'm fairly new here. I think I've been here a little bit more than a year now. So last year when I was here, I'd only been here a couple of months, I think, at our last meeting. And I was just kind of getting my feet wet. But at this point, you know, Matt and I have been doing our what we call lunch and learns with the seniors for a little bit more than a year now. And we have been presenting them with recipes where we use things from the garden, the vegetables that are in the garden, and then I do a cooking demonstration with them and show them how to use these vegetables that they can grow, and also talk to them about the health and nutrition benefits of each of the vegetables. So it is definitely a lunch and learn, and I always try to bring things in. You know, there are certain vegetables that people just don't like and are just not gonna try. Like last week we did turnips, and the month before that we featured kohlrabi, as Matt said. These are things that a lot of people are just not gonna try, they're not gonna like, so I'm always trying to come up with new recipes and ways to make them taste better, ways to make the vegetables more appealing. The seniors really seem to like it. When we did our evaluation last year with them, everything was, you know, 100%, that they were learning, that they were enjoying it, that they were eating more vegetables, and that they were even cooking with more vegetables. So that's a little bit about what we do with the seniors. And then this year I have started working with Goodrich ISD, and we're in the midst of a program there called Learn, Grow, Eat, Go, where we're working with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So all 3 of those classes, a total of about 54 students. And we're teaching these elementary kids how to garden, and also teaching them about nutrition, healthy eating, and physical activity. And so the intent is to start them young, to get them into healthy habits, and to teach them about gardening so that hopefully it will be more of a lifelong activity for them, and that health and taking care of their bodies, taking care of their nutrition, those will be things that they practice over their lifetime. So we're doing Learn, Grow, Eat, Go there with the kids. We're also doing a program called Walk Across Texas, which Walk Across Texas is about encouraging physical activity. The whole idea is that you will walk within an 8-week period. They form into teams, and each team will walk a total of 832 miles or more. And that is actually the distance from Orange to El Paso. So figuratively, they are walking across Texas then. And so they've got a little map where they track it and keep up with it. And so we've got not only the youth, the entire school, elementary, middle school, and high school, as well as the teachers and staff, and the parents are getting involved. So far we have 305 people involved in Walk Across Texas with the goal just to get people more conscious about physical activity and get them moving more. So that's underway. And then I'll be presenting a program later for the faculty at Goodrich, talking about heart health. And we've got a couple of different lessons that we're gonna cover. So we've got a lot going on at Goodrich, and this is, I hope, just the beginning, and we'll be able to expand to other schools in Polk County. But I know that there is a real need at Goodrich, so I'm glad that we're able to be there and help.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah, and welcome to the team.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And then to wrap everything up, we did not mention that Matt did win a Superior Service Award through Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. It's one of the highest awards in the A&M system. He won for the efforts that he put forth with the Onalaska tornado, getting the vet team out here and doing all of that. So we're like you said, we're very excited to have such an
You know, we
award-winning
love picking
person.
on him because he starts slumping. And then you start complimenting him.
Yes. We are very, very lucky.
Turning
So,
red.
yes, thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without y'all, especially with our kids. And as you know, we're moving into March tomorrow, and that comes with all of our livestock shows and our county shows. So I encourage all of you to come out and support our kids at the county fair. That will be the last week, I believe, of March. The sale was a record-breaking sale last year, so y'all come on out, encourage the kids. This Saturday, we actually have a showmanship practice, so our kiddos are coming out to get some practice before our big event at the end of the month, so.
Well, I don't think there's anyone up here that does not strongly support or
That's
have
right.
children that have been impacted or somebody that has benefited from those programs.
Absolutely. We love seeing all of you out there, so thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
thank all of you very much. Okay, item number 4, new business. If you all would like to leave, that's fine. The 4-H AgriLife people. Okay, new business consent agenda, you have addendums on B. Addendum number 1 in the amount of $283,857.76. Addendum number 2 in the amount of $15,014.02. Is there anything on the consent agenda that anybody would like to pull? Okay, I need a
So
motion.
moved.
Motion Commissioner Purvis. Second Commissioner Robertson. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, consider approval of personnel matters as follows. Review and consideration of personnel action form requests submitted since the last meeting, a review of any authorized emergency hiring. All of these are included in your packet. We have 1 emergency hire at the jail and 1 emergency hire at Human Resources. Need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion,
Second.
Commissioner Dubus, second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, consider request for revisions and amendments to the budget as follows. A, the FY 2023 budget revisions and amendments as presented by the County Auditor's Office. A copy of proposed revisions number 2023-10 and amendments 2023-10A is included in your packet for your review. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner
Second.
Cassidy, second Commissioner Purvis. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, consider request for capital purchases to be paid from fund balance and included on the FY 2023 reimbursement resolution for year's end issuance of legally authorized debt as follows. The vehicles that were requested for the FY 2023 budget were included in the Enterprise Fleet Management Vehicle Lease Program, which leases the vehicles to Polk County on either 12 or 48-month terms. Police units and certain other units with aftermarket costs have a 48-year month term. Half of the cost of the upgrades are due to be paid up front, with the other half built in. So the goal of the units is to be sold at a high enough price that the return to the county pays for the bulk of the cost of the lease. And eventually it will rotate and we will really start seeing the impact of this program but other counties and municipalities have significantly reduced their actual annual vehicle and maintenance costs by taking advantage of this program. So the monthly lease price is built into the operations budget, while the aftermarket equipment is included on our reimbursement resolution for year-end issuance of 7-year tax note. So A is aftermarket equipment on one leased vehicle for environmental enforcement in the amount of $7,693. All of these have been included before. And B is aftermarket equipment on 6 leased vehicles for the sheriff's office in the amount of $89,398. Are there any questions regarding these aftermarket equipment? Okay, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Duvos, second Commissioner Robertson. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, discuss and consider any and all necessary action regarding the request from the Texas Department of Transportation for special use project for the bridge replacement on Sunflower Road, County Road 1077 over Big Sandy Creek in Precinct 4. TxDOT is working with BGE Incorporated to develop the plans, specifications, and estimates for the bridge replacement on Sunflower Road over Big Sandy Creek. The project location occurs within the Big Thicket National Preserve. Big Sandy unit on a 60-foot wide prescriptive easement that the county maintains. Because of the project's location on a prescriptive easement, and because it requires a special use permit for activities on Big Thicket National Preserve lands, then we have included the sub-application for TxDOT and its agents to start the boring process for purposes of collecting soil data to design the bridge and the structure.
I motion approved.
Very well.
I'll
Commissioner
second.
Cassidy, second Commissioner Robertson. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, consider approval of amendment number 1 to Part 3, Subpart B of the agreement with Langford Community Services to include the dollar amount for grant administration of the water infrastructure project to be funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. At the time that the county entered into an agreement with Langford Community Management Services for grant administration of the ARPA funded water infrastructure, we did not yet have a scope of work and project costs, and the amount to be paid for their services was simply based on a percentage of the ARPA funds allocated to the project. Since the scope of the work has been determined with a total construction cost of $2,891,000, Langford has provided an amendment to the agreement to lock in the dollar amount for their services at $128,722, which is consistent with our original agreement at 4% of the total project.
It's a
A
little
copy
more
of the
than 4%,
amendment,
ain't it?
huh?
It's a little more than 4%, ain't it?
It's right at it, isn't it?
About 4.5. That'd be $3,120,000.
So you have to add the engineering.
That's what,
This is just the construction.
that includes all of it. Not just the engineering, but the admin. Okay, so a copy of the amendment is included. I guess that was our question?
Well, I mean, it said 4%, and that don't add up to 4%.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
How much
my
was the
question.
admin, Carrie?
The engineering fee is $327,050. So when you add that in and take 4%, you get the 128.
Oh, you add the 300 to the 2.8
Yes.
million, okay.
Everyone clear on that? Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Commissioner Purvis,
Second.
Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, consider approval to procure a grant administrator and professional engineer for the FY 2023-2024 Community Development Block Grant Application Cycle and appoint a rating committee. At this time, we would like to delete that motion. We had put out requests for grant administrators, and we did not receive any back. And at this time, since we have received CDBG monies for the last 2 years, then we would lose a lot of points because we've already received grants. We spoke to Leslie, who's doing our ARPA funds, and most of these grant administrators, because of the ARPA funds and Harvey mitigation funds, are covered up. So we would like just a motion to delete.
So moved.
Commissioner
I'll
Curtis?
second.
Commissioner Robertson? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, consider approval to advertise request for proposals for independent auditing firm to complete the FY 2023 and 2024 audits. We've been very satisfied with our current independent auditing firm, Bell Harris Paycheck. But TAC and the Government Finance Law Officers Association recommend that we review the options for outside auditing firms every 5 to 7 years. The last time that the court authorized an RFP for independent auditor, it was in 2004. And Bell Harris Paycheck has been completing our audit since then. We are currently spending over $70,000 for our annual independent audit, which is also over the amount of money that we can spend. And so we're preparing a request for proposal for initial term of 2 years, an option to renew for 2 additional 2-year terms, which is basically what we have in place.
That motion.
Motion,
I'll second.
Mr. Robertson, second, Mr. Cassidy, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, discuss and consider appointment of committee to develop a strategic plan and long-term goals for guidance in the county budget process. Strategic planning should be the foundation of the budget, and the statements and goals can be found on our FY 2023 budget book. But basically, GFOA recommends that they be updated about every 5 to 7 years, and strategic goals be reviewed annually. Basically, since I've been in office, first we went to survival mode, right? And so we really now need to go back and we need to get input, especially now that we have so many new elected officials. We really would like input from every department, from every elected official on some of the things that they think we should modify or address, or that should be some of our strategic goals. Especially at this point, our county is growing so fast and we've had so many changes that we feel like it would definitely behoove us to take a long, hard look at what direction the community would like to see us go. We have 2 new commissioners, we have multiple new elected officials, we have the Economic Development Corporation has re-energized itself. So we would like to have some kind of strategic plan. Now, having said that, I know that none of you want to spend a week doing ropes courses and hanging out.
Darlene
I'm good, Jared. Speak for yourself. So, and in the past, they did hold, in 2005 and 2006, they did hold a teamwork retreat, where they established a vision and a mission statement, but I don't want to limit it, the input, I guess I should say, I don't wanna limit the input to only those people that can attend or that can participate.
Or that will attend.
Or that will attend, yes. We know we're all gonna do it in your barn, because that's the only way we're gonna get you to attend. So, we would like to move forward in doing some form of, workshops that engages all the elected officials, and that asks for input from the community as well, as to what they see need to be the strategic goals for Polk County. We have been doing that, we have been doing it very informally, like with our subdivision regulations, we had developers come in and provide some input, we had, realtors come in and provide input, so it's not like we haven't kind of already been doing that to one degree or another when we formed different committees or when we've asked for input from the community. But I think that it would behoove us to make this a formal process where we develop some kind of survey and then set up workshops.
I think it is an excellent idea, and I think the time is right. I don't wanna do any ropes course, I'll do that.
And I agree with you. I think all of our elected officials need to be involved.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. I want all of our elected officials to be involved. I want all of our department heads to be involved. Because by no means do we know everything there is to do, so no amount of ropes course would, just the five of us will
With the growth
take
of our
care of it.
county, like you say, and the upcoming growth, I mean, it's.
Yes, and so I would like to involve the Chamber of Commerce, our Economic Development Director, some of our business community, so that everybody can provide some input and have their say. Having their say doesn't mean having their way. It just means having their say for the court to consider in terms of what our strategic plan needs to look like. Because we're not gonna try to direct business, but we certainly can support our local businesses.
I would be curious to see what they come up with in 2005 and 6, because it's the first I've ever heard of one.
Well, we will find it, we will locate it and send it,
And that's a good point, because we wanna know where we were at that point.
You know,
and where we're going now.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's, we've never talked about a strategic, long-term plan.
Of course, this is 23, and if it's 2005,
It's a long gap.
Yeah.
And basically, when we've talked about strategic plan, we've never talked about them in terms of long-term. We've talked about them budgetary. We have asked most of our departments to develop long-term plans, just so that for budget purposes, we could plan and anticipate, and also to make sure that we were taking care of the county's business, that we're being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And so we do have long-term plans and strategic plans for some of our departments. If you will recall, at one time, IT, we just replaced things whenever something broke down. But unfortunately, by then, the work product for a lot of the technology was so reduced and diminished to the extent that in some cases it was almost obsolete. And so then it was very difficult to upgrade, to get things back on track. So now we have an IT rotation where it just automatically rotates so that we can make sure that nobody is ever left behind and that we lose work product or we lose data that we needed. So IT is there. The enterprise with vehicles is a long-term plan of reducing the expenditures for the taxpayers. Because at that point in time, when we were purchasing vehicles, you might have a vehicle that you no longer even owned or used, that you're still paying interest on. Because they're on a 7-year, well, the life expectancy, especially for the sheriff's department, the life expectancy on their vehicles as a whole is not 7 years. So basically, we were still paying on something that we no longer own. And so we've done strategic planning, but now I want us to expand that and it not just be about the budget, but where are we going, where do we see ourselves, and how are we gonna get there?
I think it's essential to stay ahead here. We don't have a choice.
Yeah, because mostly we've been in defense reactive mode.
Sounds good.
Definitely motion up.
Okay,
Much needed.
so, how do you wanna work it? I think we've established we're not going to a ropes course. So I won't be calling Choye to see if I can bounce off their big ball into the water. You'll wanna do it as a series of workshops. Now, we have been doing that anyway. We've been doing series of workshops for elected officials, especially new elected officials. Where they come in, we do a workshop, like the JPs come in and do workshops. We've done workshops with the new commissioners. We've been doing a series of workshops, and so we could do it as a series of team meetings or workshops where some related groups can provide input.
But sooner or later, everybody's like to get together.
Sooner or later, everybody's gonna have to get together. But we can start with, 1 or 2 hour workshops where, say we take all of law enforcement, and say, okay, we need some input. And then you take all the JPs and the courts and get them to provide some input. Clerks in the tax office, you see what I'm saying, get kind of similarly related, departments and elected officials.
Could you bring us back kind of a plan of what you see and then let us look at it?
Oh,
So instead
absolutely.
of maybe just,
No,
starting-
absolutely, so we can sit down
But
and
the
kind
plan-
of look
the
at
plan
it,
is what I'm
yeah,
talking about.
and kind of lay out a format on the beginning, because that is the other thing, we don't wanna say, yeah, and then 2 years from now say, did we ever discuss that? Right, so we do wanna make sure that we put a
Right.
time limit on it.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll bring
Get
it
a
to y'all,
plan together and get going on it.
yeah, so we'll bring it to y'all next meeting,
Okay.
okay?
thank you. I think that's
Thank
a
you,
great
ma'am.
idea.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Cassidy, well, you just fallen right in line. Very well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. What time is it now?
10:42.
Thank you. Okay. Work on that.